who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that...
Hey sports fans, Larry Elder here. I want to tell you about my latest book. It's called Dear Father, Dear Son. And it's about my 10-year period of time when I didn't speak a word to my father. My father and I had a fight when I was 15 years old, and from the time I was 15 until the time I was 25 years old, we didn't say a word to each other. And the book is about the 8-hour conversation that we had when I sat down with him finally at the age of 25. I thought we would have maybe a 5 or 10 minute conversation. I tell him what a mean SOB I thought he was, and I figured he'd tell me what an ungrateful son he thought I was, but at least we'd clarify our respective positions, and I maybe would sleep a little better at night. Instead, we sat on 2 stools at my dad's little diner that he ran. We sat on 2 little stools for 8 hours. And during that period of time, my father morphed from this mean, uncaring, cold volcano of anger to this kind, caring, sensitive man whom I had misunderstood my entire life. So the book really is a 247-page apology to the man that my brothers and I completely misunderstood. For example, I found out when my dad and I sat down that the name Elder, my last name, was the name of the boyfriend who was in his mom's life the longest. My father never met his biological father. I found that out when I was 25 years old. Now, I knew my father had a difficult background or a strange background or a background that he didn't want to talk about because nobody ever talked about his background. My father never had any visitors. Nobody ever called him. My father never went to visit any relatives or even any friends for that matter. And so I figured my father had a difficult background, but I really had no idea because whenever I mildly asked questions about it, my father and my mother didn't want to talk about it. So I'm sitting here with him at 25 years old, and I find out that my name, Elder, was the name of some dude who was in his mom's life the longest. He was an alcoholic who physically beat his mother and beat my dad. My grandmother, my dad's mother, had a series of boyfriends, one more irresponsible than the other. And my dad comes home from school one day at the age of 13. All of this is in the book, Dear Father, Dear Son. Comes home from school at the age of 13. And he has a fight with the mother's current boyfriend, and the mother sides with the boyfriend, throws my father out of the house, never to return. Now, step back a little bit, let me set the picture for you. This is a black boy in the Jim Crow South, Athens, Georgia. My dad was born in 1915, so he's 13 years old. We're talking 1928, 1929, the same year of the beginning of the Great Depression, during Jim Crow South, of course. And my father then basically went into the neighborhood and tried to get a job doing anything, and ultimately got a job cleaning, and that led to a job cooking, and that led to him getting a job as a Pullman porter on the trains. At the time, they were the largest private employer of blacks in the day. And my dad traveled all over the country, including to California, and thought kind of, he made a middle note, maybe someday I'd relocate to California. Well, Pearl Harbor breaks out, and World War II starts. American involvement in World War II starts. My dad becomes a Marine. He's a Montford Point Marine. Maybe you don't know what a Montford Point Marine is, but these are the first black Marines. There were 20,000 of them from 1942 to 1949 at Montford Point, a segregated camp that was built next to Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. My dad was one of the 20,000. And a few years ago, Congress awarded the Montford Pointers the Congressional Medal of Honor, which is the highest congressional medal that Congress can give. And my father got his award posthumously. Anyway, my father joined the Marines, and he comes out and he goes back to the South to get a job as a cook. My dad was a cook in the Marines. He was a staff sergeant as a cook. So, cooking for all of our GIs, my father with all this experience, having been a vet, comes down to the South and wants a job as a short order cook, and nobody will hire him because they tell him, in some cases to his face, we don't hire niggers. My father says this is BS given what he's done for the country and his work ethic. He decides he's going to go to LA where he had been as a Pullman porter, and he walked around here for a couple of days to get him a job as a cook. Nobody would hire him. He goes to an unemployment office. The unemployment office calls him up finally and says, I have a job for you. The job is cleaning toilets. Will you do it? My dad said, of course I'll do it. He took a job with Nabisco Company and took a second job with Barbara Ann Bread, both of which were janitors cleaning toilets. And then he cooked for a family on the weekend and went to night school a couple nights a week to get his GED. The man never slept, which is why he was grouchy all the time, which is why we mistook his temper for lack of love. And my father, having been raised the way he was raised, his attitude was, I put food on the table, clothes on your back, a roof over your head. I didn't have those three things. What's the problem? And of course, when you are used to those things, what you want is empathy. You want Ward Cleaver. You want a touchy-feely, relaty father. And my dad was not like that. He was that Second World War II generation, and these were the kinds of people that did not wear emotion on their sleeves. And I just completely misread the man and did not appreciate his background, in part because they didn't talk about it, but in part because you're young and you're sensitive look, I apologize. What's the line? I think it was Mark Twain who said, the older I get, the smarter my dad gets. Mark, I'm giving you some love. So I do urge you to check out the book, and I want to go over a couple of things people have said about the book, if you don't mind. Amazon.com is where you can find some reactions to the book. I think there are about 80 different reviews of the book now. Here's one by Sarah from Phoenix City, Alabama. I enjoyed the book. It was a light one-day read. It's not just for fathers and sons, and it isn't. The book is about the importance of fathers. And if you want to talk about numbers, let's do some numbers real fast. In 1965, Daniel Patrick Moynihan wrote a book called The Negro Family, A Case for National Action. At the time, 25% of black kids were born outside of wedlock. The number now is 75%. We were just talking about Philadelphia, and there have been 3 incidences of the so-called knockout game in Philadelphia where young blacks have targeted innocent white people and knocked them out. And the question is why? And in the 1880s, 75% of black children in Philadelphia were born to nuclear intact families. That's a higher percentage now than white kids are born to 2-parent households. And that culture has changed in part because of government policy that has, in its infinite wisdom, rewarded people for making bad decisions. They've allowed women to marry the government and allowed men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. So that's why I wrote the book, to show how fathers are important. Even tough, gruff fathers are important. Carlos, awesome read. He said he's going to sit down with his father now and get a better understanding. And I can't tell you, Carlos, how many times people have read the book, and I've gotten an email from someone saying, you've made me revisit my dad or rethink my relationship with my father. It made me reach out to them. And a number of people have said that the book has inspired their fathers to reach out to them. So this has been a very rewarding experience for me, and I really hope you pick up a copy and take a look at the book. Let me give you one more. This is by Ron. This is another one who says they finished the book in one day. Reading is hard. You have to take your eyeballs and go over a piece of paper, and we all work hard, and reading is an exercise, which is why I think it's maybe a declining skill. But this is a quick read, it's a fast read, it's an enjoyable read, and it won't take you all day to read it. TAS from Downey says, one of the best true stories I've read in a long time. This was inspiring, funny, and so heartwarming. You won't be disappointed. Recommend it to family and friends, and I got a thumbs up every time. So TAS or Taz or whatever your name is, much love. Thank you all for joining me. I'm Larry Elder. The book again is called Dear Father, Dear Son. To know more about me and to become an Eldorado, go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form, become an Eldorado. You get a free copy of Michael and Me, which is an award-winning feature-length documentary that I produced and directed. See you next time, sports fans. I'm gone. I'm Larry Elder, out of here.